hello, darling, and welcome to the Just Jax podcast. Hi, I'm Jax, and I help you find the can in your cat. When we challenge our cats, miracles happen, because when I challenge mine of I can't draw, I can't paint, and I can't color, imagine my surprise when I discovered what I can do is create a 21-foot garden mural that was recently featured not once but twice on the front page of our local newspaper. Next up, I challenge the I'm no author, no artist, and no cursive writing specialist, but what I can do is self-publish 3 books for my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, Crack the Cursive Code. I'm a jax of all trades, but what I master in is helping ordinary people like me to do extraordinary things through laughter, tears, life-changing stories, because metaphors are my jam. Together we can find the can in your can'ts, the do's in your don'ts, and the wills in your won'ts. I'm so excited for you. Let's go. Well, hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the Just Jax podcast. And this week, my soul took quite a beating. I was watching an NFL football game yesterday, and I enjoy watching football, mostly NFL. I did watch some college on Saturday only because it was certain schools that I was interested in. But other than that, college football is low on the priority in comparison to the NFL. And one of the players, the last name is Worthy, Worthy. And I had a bit of a giggle about that because he continuously can say, I am worthy, because he can never say I am not worthy, because he's always worthy, because that's what his name is. And I thought that would be a really cool name to have, because you could always believe in yourself. And when you're building yourself up, I really am worthy of being worthy of the name Worthy or whatever. My soul got a hit this week because I have been really struggling still with my cursive writing curriculum that I created, Crack the Cursive Code. I rarely talk about it just because it really does something to my insides, and it puts me into like panic attacks and feeling sick to my stomach. I have actually made myself sick over it, having to talk about it, be around it, anything like that. It's almost like a child that I birthed that I want nothing to do with, and it sounds really horrible, and that's exactly how horrible it feels. I have people around me that continuously tell me that I am worthy of success and that I should be really proud of what I've created. But for me, there is this incredible emotional wall and block around the program, around my 3 books that I created, 3.5, because there's a right and a left-handed version for the writing component. And my hopes got brought up that finally I was going to get some recognition, something to fill this hole of myself, because I really feel that I've done everything that I can think of that I have pushed myself through to promote this material. Have I gone whole hog in the social media department? No, and maybe that's what's left, but at the same time, I have no heart behind it. So if there's no heart or passion or excitement or anything like that, it's going to come across flat in my marketing, and then I'll feel like I've done it all for nothing, because that seems to be what needs to be done. Is you need to have an emotional connection and passion, and your authenticity comes through. But for me, I still feel like I am an imposter in this education world. And this is where my degree of worthiness really came into play, for I got an email from Educator Insider magazine, and how it went was, "Hi, I'm Sarah from educationinsidermagazine.com, a prominent publication that reaches out to 127,000 qualified print and digital subscribers who are senior executives and decision makers. Renowned for spotlighting technological and non-technological educational advancements, our magazine provides in-depth insights, thought-provoking analysis, and inspiring narratives that empower educators, students, administrators, and education enthusiasts. And I went, yeah, okay, whatever. And then this is what got me. It says, we are delighted to share with you that Crack the Cursive Code is shortlisted as the Cursive Read and Write Lessons Provider of the Year 2026 in our upcoming issue. Well, I had a full-fledged panic attack because why would they want to talk to me? And this is what the core problem that I have within myself is that I have created these books, but I in no way was a cursive writing specialist or enthusiast. And really all I wanted to do was provide a product that would be fun, efficient, and something that would have value. And I felt that I created those things, but I get really beat up as the person who promotes it because I am shortlisted on many things. I'm shortlisted on being a teacher because I did help teach Latin in the school that my boys were part of, and I taught grade 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And they did very well and I enjoyed it. But was I a teacher? No, I just helped out in the school. Now, did I create fun Lego to help teach Latin? And I also created plays and bingo and all these different fun games and such to translate that very difficult material into bite-sized pieces. And that is what my superpower is that I can take complex concepts and break them down into simple metaphors that are much easier to digest and process mentally, emotionally, and even possibly physically. That's what I love to do. Take big pictures and zone them down into a small picture and give you something that can answer a lot of those problems. And with my cursive writing curriculum, I wanted to answer 3 problems: boredom, busy work, and bucks. But I wanted to make it a fun way to solve the problem. That's why I incorporated an adventure story and made it more of an activity book instead of a workbook, because cursive writing has a real bad rap. That being said, also, with being a homeschool mom, I was shortlisted there too because I went and did a hybrid experience with my boys where they had credited teachers on Mondays and Wednesdays that taught them the material. And I was working with them and reteaching them anything they were lacking. It was my responsibility to make sure that the homework was done. And there was a substantial amount of homework given for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it was a full day of school worth of homework to be done. And did they get it done? Yes. Did they have good marks? Yes. And so that part I was a success in regards to working together with the school to get my children to have an education. I was also shortlisted as a parent because I really struggled with being a parent. I became very masculine in my approach and the tough guy and the hard ass. And that was more my persona that took over. And there were a lot of holes in my boys' experience. And it has been a real struggle for me to come up from there, knowing that there are areas that I have faltered. And the only thing that I have, even like when I spoke to my younger son yesterday, is like, you have a rare gift that you can talk to me about anything that I did as your parent. And I am going to give you my perspective on why it was that way and then apologize to you for what has happened, because I am the only person that can say sorry for what I have done and what I have said and been and delivered or whatever. And I think that's the biggest gift that I can give my children, is the ability to recognize that there were holes in their upbringing that I was unable to fulfill. And there's a two-edged sword there because I also have to give myself grace that I could do the best that I could do under those circumstances. And it's very tough when no one else recognizes those circumstances that you were under. It made me realize that I really had to struggle this week with recognizing that I am worthy, that I am a good person, because there were quite a few incidences like with this award. And it continues on and goes, this selection is driven by nominations from our subscribers who were impressed by your company's impactful work. Recognized above all others, Crack the Cursive Code stands as the sole educational institute to receive the Cursive Read and Write Lessons Provider of the Year 2006 title in this issue. We will showcase your organization in a comprehensive 2-page profile that highlights your dedication to shaping the future of the education sector. This feature will spotlight your focus on empowering students, strengthening academic standards, and fostering institutional development. Through real-world examples, this story will demonstrate how you create impactful learning experiences and position you as a trusted partner in the education sector. And that, for me, I completely started to spiral there. I'm like, okay, I am no trusted partner in the education sector in my mind. I was a mom that saw that there was a need, and I thought I was allowed to exercise my creativity in that need. But when I stand as a person in any of those sectors, like I was telling you, teacher, homeschool mom, and even mom, I fall short in my mind in regards to doing those. I have met kick-ass teachers, moms that are homeschoolers, and just moms that are kick-ass moms. And I'm sorry, but I barely passed in all three of those areas. Now, did I do a kick-ass job considering who I am and what tools I had? Well, fuck, yeah, that is a kick-ass job, but this takes a real beating in my worthy sector of my mind. And so it says here, being recognized in our magazine has provided our clients with the right visibility by showcasing them as the best in their field to a highly trained audience. They were also impressed by the inbound inquiries received from our engaged subscribers and website visitors. Similarly, your company can attain impactful visibility through the Cursive Read and Write Lessons Provider of the Year and its reprints, as recognition from a renowned magazine reinforce credibility and makes prospects more confident in partnering with you. We will provide you with a logo and other benefits for $5,000, and the profile will also be linked in your website, driving inbound inquiries from our readers and website visitors. And for me, I totally blanked out the benefits for $5,000 because I thought I would have to win first. So I went into a tailspin spiral because I'm like, well, I am not worthy. And this is one of my biggest knots here, is that I entered into an arena where there are people that have a lot of letters behind their name other than BITCH, like I have. I do have creator behind my name. I could say that. Innovator, I could have that. But in regards to anything that measures according to standards that our society has put, no. The timing is quite fascinating because I originally got it on the 12th of November and I stalled on it. I thought this was really surprising. And my response to her is to say, I'm surprised to receive an email from you is a huge understatement. I would love to have a conversation, but before I do that, do I still qualify because my books are self-published? And she says, well, of course they do. You absolutely still qualify. Our evaluation team shortlisted you based on the nominations we received from our qualified subscribers through our multi-layer screening process. Being self-published does not affect your eligibility in any way. Then she shows me a mock-up of what the advertisement would look like and what I would win. And it was called Unlocking Potential, and it was just a fantastic looking article. But I would have to win first, but then I was still a little confused, and I was super sick the first day that I was supposed to have the call, and I rescheduled it till shortly after. And then I took the call from the gentleman, and he went through all of the conversation, but all he focused on was the $5,000. And I'm like, well, why, if I'm winning an award, why do I have to pay for an award? I should have the award. And then if I want to advertise in their magazine, then I would pay the $5,000 to have that type of spread. But I'm having a hard time understanding, if I'm the winner of the award, then why am I not just the winner of the award? So needless to say, the gentleman I talked to, I sent him an email because he responded back to me less than a week ago. He was like, "Thank you for your time over the call. It is unfortunate that we won't be working together this year. However, I will keep you posted on future opportunities." Well, that doesn't sound like I won anything. It sounds like a bait and switch. And that's where I had sent an email this morning. I'm like, "I do have a question. How is being nominated for an award and paying you $5,000 tied together? I never thought that I would have to pay for this award. That is what threw me. I am quite confused as to how the two are related. Could you explain that to me?" So I would want to do some further questions, because to go through all of that for just a sales call really pisses me off. I'm very frustrated that the energy that I brought to me is that I have to pay for my success still, that success doesn't come to me. Like if they wanted to pay me $5,000 and say I won $5,000 and this free spread with the award, that's the energy I want around these books. And this is why I struggle with it, because it seems that no matter where I turn, I get some kind of resistance towards these products. Like, I've sold less books this year than I did last year. Now, did I do less this year than I did last year? That's hard to say. My podcast is new this year, and I've been able to talk about the creation of the books through my episodes. The entire Crack the Cursive Code story and how it came to be are episodes 8 through 12. And that is 4 episodes worthy, that is for sure. And so it really brought up for me this week that I am a good person, and that there are some mistakes that I have made in the past, and I have hurt myself, I have hurt my friends, I have hurt my kids, I have hurt the men in my life, my parents. I've done things scratching myself out of the hole I was in mentally. I have scratched people. Like if you have a cat that's cornered, and they can actually scratch you even if you're trying to help. And that has been my case to some degree. But at the bottom of the whole thing, I'm still a good person. There was no intent to hurt. There was survival mode. And there's a big difference to me between survival mode. So if you're out there beating yourself up because of some of the choices that you've made, then maybe there's some grace that you could give yourself too, because there are always people in situations that will attempt to show you that you're unworthy. And now, even with my podcast, I've finally broke the doing the video portion of it, and that has been huge. It's been a very big moving forward for me. Allowing myself to be seen and really fighting this lack of worthy portion of it. But my takeaway, and if the takeaway is for you, is that I know down within myself that I am a good person. But at the same time, if I am fighting with these feelings of being unworthy, then I also could be looking at my outside world as in they are continuously reinforcing my belief. And this is a real chicken and egg moment, because oftentimes I can get caught up in what's happening in the outside world when it really is an understanding that the outside world only exists if it exists in my inside world first. This is also where I have difficulty with people who claim to be empaths, because there's a difference between feeling someone's energy that they have or owning someone's energy that you encounter. And the only time that you own someone's energy that you encounter is if you have owned it first. So if you come around an energy, you are not worthy energy, because someone who's highly insecure will operate in making sure other people feel that they are less. So if you bring those type of people into your life, like I have just an incident the other day where I'm being shown that I'm unworthy and there's something wrong with me. First of all, The only reason that it comes into my sphere is because in some way, shape, or form, that is my struggle of whether or not I believe that is true. And if I have a meter in my soul that measures how unworthy I feel. If someone comes along of an unworthy energy, I'm going to feel whatever percentage I believe I am unworthy. You can blame the other person for showing you that, but all it is like an indicator. It's only a light that goes by, and it only lights up in you. Here's an example. There are these certain things called fire rocks. And while I was watching, mindlessly scrolling on either Facebook or TikTok, there was a gentleman that was out in the ocean and he had a black light. And he took this black light and was shining it all over these rocks. And if these rocks were fire rocks, they would light up underneath the black light and look like there's an explosion of light within them. And our souls are very similar. So if we have you are not safe, you are not worthy, you are not loved, you are not chosen, all of the knots that I have in my episodes, her, uh, uh, seen, anything like that. If you have within yourself, like that rock, a hole in your soul where you hold that belief that you are not those things, you are not worthy, then when that flashlight goes by of the person that has that energy, that's what they are, that's what they embody. If they come by you and they shine their light on you, if you have that realm inside your soul that holds that you are not worthy, it's going to light up. And it's very easy to blame them. But if you have no area in your life that you believe that you are like that, then the light will shine by and it'll do nothing. And they will have zero power impact. The only impact they have on me is if I believe that it's true. Now, I had a huge vat of I am unworthy energy in there. And this letter brought it up to me that I'm still fighting with that in regards to my book. And that's fine. I am now recognizing it. And this was able to show that to me. I guess what is happening in regards to the books and what's happening in regards to my kids is very similar, is that I felt very inadequate about it. And because I guess with my parenting, I'm still getting beaten. Even after yesterday, I'm getting told that my mother and my older son still think I am that horrible person. It came to me that because my mom was never able to save my brother and myself from my dad and his abuse, and because my mother sees me as just like my dad, that when the situation went sideways with my ex and she decided that I was the same horrible person, that she had to save the kids from. And my son and I had a very good conversation, my younger one, about what kids did she save. She never calls my boys her grandkids. She does to a degree, but when she talks about that time, she talks about that she had to save her kids. So in my mom's mind, I am my dad and someone the kids needed to be protected from, and that she was the one to protect them. There has been a huge crossover in regards to her thinking that my boys are her kids. There's been a lot of gray about that in many things. Even at the hospital, she listed her son, my son, not her son that died. My brother died in 1995, and then we had his first birthday without him. He died in February, the April following. And then Roman was born on Jeff's birthday the year later in 1996, and he looks exactly like my brother. They could have been twin brothers very easily. The only difference is that Roman has dark hair and blue eyes, and Jeff had more of the reddish color that you see in my video. That's dye, of course, and brown eyes or hazel eyes. So he looked a little different, but same body shape, same curly hair, same. They could easily be brothers. And my mother has made a redemption story for herself because of the guilt that she feels of what went on with my brother and myself, because there were some real huge issues with my brother. And so, because of that, my son is her redemption story, and she has made sure that she is his person. And in order to do that, she has had to make me out as a horrible person. Now, I have made some mistakes with my boys, and I own up to those. And there were areas that I really sucked at and I struggled with, and my older son was one of those. I really felt that I was the wrong parent for him. He needed someone that could deal with the fact that he was different, and I was struggling so much with my being different that I was unable to give him what I never received myself. And there are holes in his bullet wounds, I guess. There are holes in his childhood experience that I own up to, that I knew that I really sucked at. But instead of my mother giving me the grace that she is expecting, she takes those bullets and continuously has him go to a firing range and keep those wounds fresh. Whereas with my mom, I have had multiple 7 shots. I have taken the bullets out and healed the best of my ability and given her the grace, just like I explained earlier on how that she basically saved her kids. She, in her mind, finally did something right out of all the things that in her mind she's done wrong. And I refuse to take her to the firing range, but it's very difficult when I have all these gunshot wounds and she basically states that were no wounds at all and that she's the only one that has the right to have the ammunition. And I struggle with that. So, and I have absolutely no trust for her. I know that my mom is two different people. There are mom and there are Sonia, and I have had enough of dealing with Sonia, and I refuse to be around that woman ever. For the sake of my boys, I allow myself to have some access to her and treat her with respect, because the mom that endured what went through with my dad deserves that, and I will honor her as I can. But enable her is a very different story. But because of that, my mother has now made the reason we have no relationship is that I am the horrible person. And she has made sure that my older son believes the same, because between my mother and my son, I am responsible for repairing the relationship with my mother because I'm the daughter. And with my son, I am responsible for repairing the relationship because I am the mother and he is the child. So I'm fucked either way, because I'm responsible as the child to fix it in my mother's. But because I'm the mother and my son is the child, I'm responsible to fix it because I'm the mother. So neither one of them are taking any accountability for the way they think or the reason why we have the distance in our relationship. And I'm sorry, but my sense of worth is fuck that, because I will be respectful and kind and caring, and I will do that. But a doormat and an enabler, I'm sorry, I'm not. And it was difficult because it puts my younger son in a bad position, because my mom constantly calls him my favorite. And the only reason he is my favorite is because he believes that I'm a good person who's made mistakes instead of a horrible person that's just going to take advantage of you and treat you badly. So, like I said to my younger son, why would I want to be around my older sons any more than I am now? Because no matter what I do, it gets construed to adding more evidence, because you get what you look for. And that's what they look for. I went to Thanksgiving and drove out there, took the time to spend the extra miles to go out to see him, bought a whole bunch of gifts. Now, and all of that kind of stuff, anything that I could possibly do to let him know that I am a kind person. And he just shredded apart anyway, because I never did what I needed him to do. But he never tells me what he needs, and I'm just supposed to know, and it's up to me to fix it. But in my case, he's holding it against me because I'm not fixing my relationship with my mother, where I'm the child in that incident. And I have sent many messages to my son about how I'm sorry for what I have done. And if you need whatever you need from me to move forward, I will do that. Like if you need me to ask more questions or let me know what you need, because I told you I'm that type of mom that I want to make it right. I have no idea how to make it right. And I've mentioned it that I want to, and there's been no help except for judgment. And I really feel that as long as he's in contact with my mother, who needs to maintain that I'm evil, even the last time I talked with her, there was an incident when I was 2 years old. She had a bird, and I accidentally killed the bird because I climbed up I wanted to see the bird. So I was climbing up the pedestal portion of the cage, and the cage fell over and he died. And it's almost every time that I come up, she's got to make sure that I know that all these horrible things that I've done as a child. And then she goes into saying, well, you did that on purpose. And I'm like, Mom, I was 2. I don't care. You did that on purpose. And I'm like, oh my God, and there was no room for movement in that mindset. Now, my dad did take the lawnmower and on purpose mow down all of her flowers that she had, her beautiful flowers in her flower beds. Now he did that on purpose. And so I'm this just like your dad veil that I have. I'm getting really tired of having to deal with his bullshit, but dealing with an 84-year-old woman. She's turning 84 this year in March. Is it worth it to just hammer it to her? And all I got to do is outlast her, because when she goes, that poisonous legacy goes, and then I can possibly reintroduce myself to my older son so that he will actually see that I'm a pretty decent person. I am a good person. I've just made mistakes. And that's the difference between whether or not I'm worthy. Now, with my book, I'm still struggling on my worthiness because there are areas in there that I can compare, and I fall short in those comparisons. But in regards to the mom, I could compare myself all days and twice on Sunday, but I also have to take into account of who I am and what I've been through and my obstacles. And I still showed up. I showed up every day. It was super hard to do, but I did my best. And with the tools that I had, was my best good enough? Probably not. But I still did my best. And I can now be better, and I have done better. I have been a sounding board for my younger son. I have done what I can to show who I am without compromising myself or putting myself out there too much. Because if I'm continuously looked at as a horrible person, it's very difficult to put yourself out there. And if I need to put myself out there more, then when I am asked internally to do so, I will do so. But before I get judged on how much I've done, it might be best to find out exactly how much I've done, because there are certain people, like I'm beginning to feel with my mother, that there is nothing I can do to become worthy, because then she would have to admit what she has done. Accountability in that age group is pretty tough. That's where I'm the chain breaker, because accountability in my age group is just as bad. There are so many kids that are non-contact or no contact with my age group, because I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 in next year. We were abusive and bullies to our kids, and I know I was. Did I do better than my mom did with me? Yes, I did. And I can walk away with that I am worthy of respect. It will take some time for my son to see through that if he allows me to, but I can only make a breakthrough if he allows me to. And I really feel that will be easier. Either if there's a strike by lightning that my mother decides to change about who she thinks I am, or he decides that he wants me to be his person instead of my mother. But my mother has made that very difficult for him. Like, he has a girlfriend right now, and she has almost made it that he's had to choose her over the girlfriend, and has made him having a girlfriend a very difficult thing to do. And so I know that if I made demands on more of his heart space at this time, that my mother would just make his life and mine a living hell. And she's going to have to deal with that, because my job is one that I'm working on, that I can spend more time up there because I want to build a relationship. I want to have memories with my boys that are current, that are just more than just once or twice a year. And that was up to me, but it was necessary for me to move here and rebuild myself, because if I would have never done that, then none of this would have been even remotely possible. So my lesson, I guess, today in worthiness is really doing a self-analysis of how worthy you feel you are, because the only way a ship can sink is if the water gets on the inside. And the holes in the walls of the ship are the beliefs that you have, that you agree with the negativity that's being shown to you. It's the hole is in your ship first. The water won't get into the ship if there's no hole there. And that's why those hurtful statements come in, because somewhere deep inside, you believe those things about yourself and about myself. In regards to being a parent and such, I've been able to have a conversation with my younger son where we have reconciled who I was as a mom, and that he can now sit and joke about how much of a terrorist he was as a child. That if any parent would have been different, they might have actually been even less patient, that he feels that he really deserved some of the punishments that he was given because of who he was as a child and what kind of dynamics were happening. He got to see me as a failing human being and a struggling human being, and was able to give me some grace. Now, it's been great with him because I've been able to give my mother grace, and my son's been able to give me grace so that he can talk about her and his brother anytime that he wants to. And we can have these conversations, and it's been very freeing for me. There is no grace with my older son. I'm still big bad mom. I'm still the bad guy in his situation. I still can do no right. If I'm bringing him gifts, I'm trying to buy his affection. There's no good intentions for me, and until those holes in his ship are filled, that he can see and believe that I am actually a worthy person of his affection, I know within myself that I did my best, and that there were things that I will gladly apologize for and do my best to make right. And those is how I have sealed up the holes in my ship. That it's still, sometimes the storms are pretty rough and sometimes the water does splash in a bit, but there's no sinking for me here because I understand where this intention is coming from, and I can only do my best to hope. There is no guarantee for me that he's going to turn around and see that I'm a good person. And if I was meant to break the chain with my younger son, then maybe he's the chain breaker and I have no more power over that. All I can do is continue living my best life and being the best example for him so that he can see the difference. And the only way it's going to happen too is if I spend more time up there. So in order for me to withstand those hurricane level storms that are going to be coming, I needed to be able to take my ship out of the water and just repair everything I possibly could. And I have. Now, there are still some holes that I am unaware of because they haven't been shown to me yet. And that's okay, because I now have the tools to help me understand that I am worthy. I am learning how to be better in the areas in which I have failed. And that's all we can do. Well, this is a little bit longer of a podcast than usual, but it was a good one for me and maybe for you to understand that the work really starts within. If there is a feeling that is really running your soul, the only reason it's running your soul is because you believe it somehow that it's true in the first place, because nobody can have their hooks in you if what they're saying about you, you already don't believe it, that it's not true. Now, you can consciously think that it's not true, but subconsciously, if you believe that you're a piece of shit and they tell you that you're a piece of shit, the only reason that you think that it's true is because you believed it's true first. Somewhere else, you picked it up. And all they're doing is controlling you because they know how to get the water in your boat so you can't float away. That's how they're taking this anchor into a whole new level and sinking you down, is because they found a way to get the water in because they found what you believed about yourself first. And that's the work that has to be done. And that's the work that I did when I came here. I found a job that I rebuilt myself with through my relationship. I've rebuilt my worth and what I deserve and how I'm going to be treated. And I just took the holes and spent this time filling up the holes so that those thoughts can no longer control me, because I can look at them and go, why are you saying that to me? You're just being mean, instead of me buckling down, crashing down, letting the water in, becoming what, the 3-year-old girl that has no skill, no power, no voice. And I just keep getting controlled by that because they know exactly what hole to throw the water in. And so if you can find out what holes you have and realize that those are lies, because if they were true, then if it is true, then just fix it, just work on it, just deal with it, find out where it came from. Like for mine, I figured out that with this big pain that I had with my mom, what the fuck is the problem, why she kept saying they were her kids. I just realized that in her mind, she finally saved the kids. She did it to someone else and she completely clouded it over, but she justified and made me such a horrible person in her mind that that was how she could save the children. And in her mind, she did, but she lost a picture of who I was in the process, or who I am now. And she refuses to see that I am a good person because she can't, it's very difficult for her to, for me to be a good person. I have to be worse than her. I have to be a badder person. Otherwise, she has to look at what she did when she was my parent. But all is forgivable if she just accepted the fact that she made mistakes, that she was a good person that made mistakes. But instead, she's projected that horrible person on me. And the only power she has on that is that if I have those holes in my boat that say that I am a horrible person, and no, I am a good person that has just made some mistakes. And mistakes are a very strong word. I have hurt people and I've hurt myself. But through that process now, I have strengthened the hull of my ship. So are they really mistakes? They are just choices that had very severe consequences. And I'm living through those consequences. And some of those consequences still have some pretty big holes in other areas of my life, but I'm working through those, because once I can float, then I am no longer sinking below, and I'm now up leveling, upcycling, upgrading, just going up, because then I'm no longer being weighed down with the weight of all this other water that has nothing to do with me. And it's their water, and the only way I take it in is if I believed it first. Well, we reached the end of our episode, and I want to thank you, and I hope that you can find the holes in your ships of your soul and start working on those and welding them together so that you no longer have these areas where people can control you. Because if they can have you resort down to your little person, then you have no tools, no power, no voice to be able to ask what you want and stand up for what you deserve. And so as long as they can keep that little child active, there is no change. You can check out all of my fabulous t-shirt designs. I have one of them right now, my fourth worth, and there is my loser. Here's my fourth worth again. It's a better picture of it. It says, now damn it, I created that myself. This is my shift work, and this is where the F, if you want to move your shit, you got to put an F in your shit. And F really is forgiveness, and forgiveness is a recognition of who you really are and allowing yourself to have the grace to accept that you are a good person. You've just made some real choices that had consequences. And then this is the last one. This is also the last forthwith, is that is for blue bloods. It has the New York background, and then it has forthwith on it. You can find all of that plus my kick-ass cursive curriculum at crackthecursive.code.com. And I want to thank you for spending this time with me. And I hope that you weld the holes in your boat so that we can all float up together. Have a great day. Love you. Jax out.